Също знаете ли какво направо? Ще оставя той да ви разкаже, мисля, че го направи по-добре от мен. Още веднъж Парис Childress. Моля за аплодисменти.
Добър ден на всички. And from here it's English, unfortunately. I want to talk to you today about content marketing for your startup. And I want to make a case that this is the definitive way to do online marketing for any kind of business. And I want to start with a story about a friend of mine named Geraldine. She's from LA, from Los Angeles. And Geraldine is an entrepreneur, like many of you aspiring entrepreneurs. And she just started up a website and a business, and it's called Sammy and Claire. She's got sammyandclaire.com. And this is a business that sells baby clothes, branded high-end baby clothes and infant and toddler clothes. She's based in LA. She targets the US. Her main target is California, but she ships nationwide. And she just started, actually. So she's got a few things going for her, Geraldine. She's got a brand. It's not really known, but she has a brand, a nice logo. She's got a beautiful website design. So she invested in a nice design, which is a great idea. She's got an awesome product. She sells top branded baby clothes, and it's a great product. So she has that going for her. She has great customer service, and she has a very short runway. She has a very short cash runway because she is bootstrapping her startup. She doesn't have an investor. She needs a few things. She needs social media presence. Doesn't have that yet. She needs a blog. She needs to get ranked in search engines. She needs organic traffic. She needs customers. And most importantly, she needs cash flow, the fuel of her business, so she can survive. So she says to me, Paris, traditional marketing, can't do it. It's out. Don't have the cash, don't have the time, don't really believe in it anymore. So can I bootstrap this baby? What can I do? I have time, I have brains, I don't have money, but I want to bootstrap it. And I say, absolutely. Traditional marketing is no longer as effective as it once was because it is talking to people. It's dictating, it's interrupting. And content marketing is having a conversation with people. It's listening, and it's letting the customer decide where that conversation goes. So Geraldine, she's not impressed. She's not impressed yet. She says, well, okay, this is social media marketing, right? I say, yeah, it's partly. And then she asked me, well, what about SEO? Aren't you an SEO guy? Where does SEO fit in here? I said, yeah, SEO fits in, but this is not SEO. In fact, SEO has changed. It has changed more in the last 15 months than it has in the preceding 5 years. And the reason is that things that used to work years ago, like duplicating content and having low-quality content spread all over the web, was made an invalid strategy by an update from Google called Panda that first hit in 2011, but went through many iterations. And another tactic that used to work really great for SEO, and it could get a lot of businesses ranked and get a ton of traffic, was to spray manipulative links all over the web in places like low-quality directories, blog comment spam, creating link networks. This is the tip of the iceberg. That stuff used to work. You used to be able to do that and scale the hell out of it, and you can get ranked. But then Google Penguin, another update, came along, and it just smashed that strategy to bits, and it doesn't work anymore. And in fact, people who are doing this stuff are now being penalized, and some of them are even panicking. The only way that you can achieve SEO results now is to earn editorial endorsement from your content, from your branded content. So SEO once was a process that you could do. You could outsource it, it was cheap, it was scalable. But now SEO is an outcome. So then, what's the process now? The process is content marketing. And content marketing is the intersection of search marketing, which includes SEO, social media, and publishing. And it requires unique positions, it requires a unique set of skills for each of these different roles. And maybe some of you out there might see yourselves in some of these roles. On the search side of the equation, we need an SEO analyst. This is a traditional person who can diagnose a website and figure out what is preventing that website from achieving higher visibility in search results. So this is a very analytical role. It's crucial. You also need a content creator, somebody who can create great content, great articles, who can create great images, even video. This is a very creative role. And on the social side of things, you need somebody who is very social, who loves to interact with people online, who can multitask like a champ. And these are the three skill sets that you need to accomplish content marketing, to do it the right way. And as a startup, either you need to go out and find these skills, or you need to develop these skills yourself and acquire them. And of course, there are some tools in the toolboxes of each of these people. On the analytics side, we have tools like Webmaster Tools, Google Webmaster Tools. We have Google Analytics. On the content side, we have WordPress. This is the premier publishing platform, and you have a lot of plugins that help you optimize your content within WordPress. And on the social outreach side of things, it's a tool like Hootsuite, which helps you to connect with hundreds of people, and it's just good old-fashioned email outreach. So Geraldine now says to me, whoa, that's a lot of work. That's a ton of work. Can I handle this? And is it worth it? Is it worth it? So she's asking me, where is the ROI, actually? And I tell her, yes, it is worth it if you're willing to play the long game. If you're in this for the long haul, it is absolutely worth it. And here's why. I want to compare three popular ways of online marketing. The first is pay-per-click marketing, Google AdWords, if you're familiar with it. And here you basically pay for every click to your website. And you can do this forever, and you can manage your ROI very well here. You typically start out with a positive ROI, and as you optimize your campaigns, the results should get better, your ROI should improve, but as you achieve ROI, the competitors will rush in, and that makes the cost per clicks more expensive, and that hurts your ROI. So basically, pay-per-click marketing generally starts positive, and it stays positive, but it's not going to go through the roof. The SEO that I just described goes like this. A couple of years ago, you could take off like a rocket by doing some of those manipulative tactics that I described. And then, is that working? You get busted. And the crash is very fast and it's very hard. We've seen it a lot. And now there's content marketing. And content marketing is the hockey stick that all the entrepreneurs dream about. You start with a negative investment and you stay there for a while, and that is a painful 3 to 6 months, maybe more. And then there's a tipping point. There's a point at which things change. There's a point at which the returns and the traffic and the leads and the sales start exponentially increasing. And the reason is because you have achieved the critical mass of content and you've achieved the critical mass of social media audience. And there was a study done by HubSpot recently where they interviewed 7,000 businesses, small businesses and startups. And they wanted to discover where is this tipping point and how does it relate to website content, blog content, and social media followers. So first thing that they asked was, how many pages of your website, where's the tipping point in terms of the number of pages of your website? And here it turns out that if about 400 pages of your website, it tips. The results of inbound traffic starts going up very fast. The tipping point for the number of blog articles written per month is 10. So that's about 2 to 3 blog posts per week. If you can maintain that frequency, you will hit the tipping point faster. Now let's look at the number of total blog posts. 50. At 50, it tips. Facebook followers, 500. Facebook fans, sorry. 500, it tips. Twitter followers, tips around 200. So now let's talk about the actual strategy. What we're trying to do is achieve rankings and traffic from this strategy. So what we have is, we have our money pages on our website. These are the pages where people convert. They either become leads or they buy something. We want to get as many people to this page as possible. So we develop branded editorial content, not sales content. And we publish it on our website, and we publish it on other websites and on other social media sites, all containing links or mentions or citations pointing into our money page. And we make this popular. We make this as popular as we can. We want to drive social shares that we can measure. We want to drive links that we can measure. We want to pass the value or the link equity and the value of the social shares through those internal links on the editorial content into our money page. And this is the way to do it. So now you're probably wondering, how do I measure all this? What should I be watching? What should I care about? What do I not really need to care about? There's a few stages of the conversion funnel. There really are 3 main stages. And I'm going to propose that there are several KPIs in each stage that you need to watch out for. The first stage of the funnel is reach. And here you just want to know, am I reaching a lot of people? What is the size and what is the growth rate of my social media audiences on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and LinkedIn, and maybe Pinterest and YouTube? And also, am I getting search impressions? Is Google giving me visibility on search results? Not necessarily clicks or rankings, but do I have visibility in search results? And we can measure that. Engagement is the next step of the funnel. And here we want to see evidence that our audience is engaging and they're taking some action with our brand and with our content. So we want to see the number of social shares on our content, the number of links that we have earned to the content. We want to see the impact of the organic search traffic to our website. And we want to see if social media is driving referral visits and if it's driving assisted referral visits, which means somebody sees you on social media and then comes to your website through another channel. And that happens a lot. And the last step of the funnel, the conversion funnel, is the most important. This is your conversions. This is where you measure your return on investment. So you want to define your goal conversion very clearly. If you're selling something, it's a transaction. If you're generating leads for the business, then it's lead generation. If it's neither of those things and you're just a publisher that wants to get great content viewed on the web, then you might want to measure things like time spent on site or page views per visitor. But whatever it is, you have to define your conversion and you have to measure it fanatically. So we start with a piece of content, and it seems, on the face of it, it seems pretty easy. Let's just start writing. But there's a pretty detailed process behind this in order to do it properly. You first have to plan. You have to produce the content. You have to publish the content. You have to promote the content, and then you have to prove that it worked, or you have to prove that it didn't work, and you have to learn something so that you can go back through this cycle again very quickly and do it better the next time. And we try to go through this cycle weekly, actually. So let's start with planning. We're going to go back to Sammy and Claire now. Sammy and Claire, Google Analytics shows me the keywords here that are driving traffic, organic search traffic to the website. And first is this nasty not provided. Thanks a lot, Google. V-neck onesie, number 2. And Sammy and Claire, baby V-neck onesies. Oh, there's onesies again. Okay, so we're getting traffic from the keyword baby onesies and baby V-neck onesies. So the next question I ask is, can we build on this? What can we do with this? Are we getting ranked for this keyword? Are we getting visibility on this keyword? I would assume the answer is yes. So then I go to Google Webmaster Tools and I filter for the keyword onesies, and I see that actually they're getting hundreds of impressions for onesies, for keywords that include onesies, and they're ranking pretty good, 3.5, 5, 9, 9. They're on the first page for all these terms. So that's great, but is anybody really looking for baby onesies? Oh yeah, they are. 22,000 of them in the US alone are looking for baby onesies. There is a huge market for this keyword. And look at the trend from Google Trends, up, and to the right. That means if we place a piece of content now and we get ranked for that content, we can drive traffic forever from that piece of content if we nail this keyword. So now let's look at social. I go to Topsy, which is a social search engine, and I want to know, is anybody sharing stuff recently about baby onesies? And what is the most shared, socially shared content about baby onesies? And it looks like there's some really interesting results. This top result from 4 days ago was retweeted 40 times. And look who this is, Randy Zuckerberg. Anybody heard of her? Sister of Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, so we've got our keyword. We have a great idea of what we want to write about. Now it's time to produce this piece of content. So the first step is that we have to think like a publisher, because we are now a publisher. We have to think about a draft and an editorial process and an optimization process. But most importantly, we want to start with the persona of the person we're writing for, the persona of our customer. And we are not necessarily writing to promote baby onesies. We're not writing to promote the Sammy and Claire brand. We are trying to solve a problem of our persona, this person, who we need to define as clearly as possible. We want to know, what is that person's goals? Is it a young mother? What goals does she have? What problems does she have? What keeps her up at night? Can we solve those problems? This is a very important thing to keep in mind, especially for the content creators, is that, I'm sorry to burst your bubble here, but as Don Draper said, you're not an artist, or maybe you're an artist, but in this instance, you're not an artist. You solve problems, dig into your toolbox, and solve those problems, and this is how you're going to have success. So we have a checklist for the content before we publish it. We want to ask a few very important questions. Who are we writing for? Have we defined our persona? Does it provide a resource, or does it entertain, or does it evoke some kind of emotion? Because that's the stuff that's going to get shared. What keyword are we targeting? Baby denim. What conversion page are we linking to? Does that article contain a link to a page that promotes or that displays baby denim material, baby denim clothes? Does it have a great image? And this is so important. You've got to have a stunning image, especially if you're selling products online. Is it original? Who else has been writing about baby denim? Is this better? Is it original? Is it shareable? And is it timely? Now, once we've written the content, we can do a lot more with it. We can give this content second and third lives by repurposing it into different formats. So one format is a slide presentation like this. We can turn that article into a beautiful slide presentation with images, and we can post it on SlideShare and on Prezi. And there are huge audiences there that we can reach. We can turn it into a video. We can even do a slide presentation with music behind it. Lots of tools that can do this very easily for free. And we can post that on the YouTube channel. We can post it on Vimeo. Again, potentially reaching huge audiences. And we can just turn the document into a PDF, and we can submit it to PDF document sharing sites like Scribd and DocStock. What we did with baby denim is we repurposed it on Pinterest because they did not have a category on the website for baby denim. So we created a category in Pinterest, and this worked really well. We also did an email marketing hack using Paperly. This is a great tool, which what Paperly does is it takes your content, it features it as a headline of a newspaper-looking or magazine-looking piece of a newsletter, and then it surrounds your content with popular content on that topic from around the web and from around the social web. So this is a really easy way to just spin out very beautiful newsletters to your list of customers. Now I want to switch gears a little bit, and I want to talk about the concept of authorship. The way that Google views the web today is not so much as a web of pages and links, but as a web of people and relationships. They want to match a page or a document with a verified author, with a person, and they verify that through a social media account and through their own social media platform, which is Google+. And when you do this properly, using this particular rel author tag, you appear, or your face as the author appears in the search results, and this drives a lot more visibility, and it drives higher click-through rates from the search result pages. So it's really a no-brainer. Everyone who's blogging should be doing this. Here's a quote from Eric Schmidt, and he basically said the same thing. We're trying to verify online profiles, and those are going to rank higher in search. So the cost of remaining anonymous then might be irrelevance. Ooh, Eric Schmidt. Okay, now let's promote the content. It's published. What do we do? I think that there are 6 social media that you can't ignore. You just can't ignore these. You've got to have it. Facebook page, Twitter account, LinkedIn profile, and a LinkedIn company page. Google+, absolutely. YouTube and Pinterest. These are the need to have. You've got to promote through all these channels. And these are the nice to have. If you have time, these would also be great. Quora is a great Q&A forum, Tumblr, Instagram, Vimeo, and Flickr. So I see social media marketing as really broken into 3 activities. You follow people, and you unfollow people. You share stuff, and you have a conversation. Really, I think everything you do on social media could be categorized into one of these 3 activities. And the KPIs, or the outcomes that we want to drive from these activities, are we follow so that we can be followed back and we can grow an audience. We share stuff so that we can gain influence and we can position ourselves as an expert in our niche. And we have conversations because this is very human and this builds relationships, and we want to build long-term relationships here. So I want to go out and find people who can help me promote my baby denim content. So I go to this tool called FollowerWonk, and I do a search. Now, this is a tool that lets you search for keywords within the bios, within the user bios on Twitter, and you can also geo-target those. So I think that if I can reach some really great mom bloggers in California, then if I can connect with them and build a relationship and promote them, that they'll promote my baby denim article. So I can see that there's 99 mom bloggers in California. And this top result, this lady, Sarah Delicious Mom, she's got 44,000 followers. Wow. So I'm going to go, I'm going to follow her, I'm going to retweet her, I'm going to @reply her, I'm going to go to her blog, I'm going to leave a comment. I'm going to build a relationship fast because I know that in a week my content's going to be published and I want her to retweet me. Now we're going to talk about sharing. Part of the stuff you're sharing is your own content, but the majority of the stuff that you should share is curated content. Content that you aggregate from around the web in your niche, and you pull out the nuggets, you pull out the pearls, and you curate it. You're basically doing a service to your audience, and you reshare this content with editorial flair, with your value add that shows that you are an expert in this niche. And if you do this consistently, and when I say consistently, I mean multiple times per day across Twitter, Facebook, and Google+ primarily, this will naturally position you as a market leader. And now it's time to talk it up and have conversations. But before we just start talking, we have to listen. This is Hootsuite, and I basically created a search for baby denim, and I can see that every half an hour at least, somebody is mentioning baby denim. There is an extremely active stream or a conversation happening around this keyword. I've got to start by listening to it, understanding how much of this is just pure noise and where's the signal, and where do I want to jump into this conversation, and how can I work naturally in a conversational manner, how can I work my content into this conversation? Another very important activity is to get published not only on your blog, but to get your original branded content published on guest blogs. And there's a specific process that we follow here. The first is we have to ID our target customer, and I think we've already done that pretty well. We want to understand now who are the influencers of our target, who are the people that they follow, are there common followers? And that tool, FollowerWonk, it does give us that information. And now I want to understand where are the sites on the web and the domains that are being read and shared by our influencers, because I want the influencers to retweet me and link to me, because then I can have the amplification effect that I'm looking for. And then I reach out to those sites. I reach out to those sites and I pitch them, and I would say, we have an exclusive piece of content. Somebody on your last blog post made this comment that indicated that there is a great follow-up post here. I want to offer that to you exclusively. Are you interested? And a lot of times they say yes. So now we have to prove all of this. As an entrepreneur, eventually you have to prove that your marketing activities are generating value. Otherwise, it's going to be game over at some point. So you have to define ROI either internally, or you have to show a demonstratable ROI to your investors. And I think that a lot of people in SEO and online marketing, they think about return on investment in terms of I put money in and I get this money out during this period. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it incremental revenue increase. I invested 1,000 this month. Did my revenue increase by 1,000? I would argue that this is the wrong way to think about ROI for a startup and from your marketing activities. I think that the right way is to identify the lifetime value that you're creating from the acquisition of new customers. An investor might not, they might not care that in the beginning you're not generating a ton of revenue, but if you're acquiring customers that are going to be repeat buyers or that you're going to have a relationship with over time, and you can prove that there's a lifetime value that you can project, then you are building value right away from your marketing activities. And the best way to measure lifetime value is through what's called cohort analysis. And cohort analysis basically chops up your marketing activities into segments divided by time. So in this case, I'm looking at weeks, and it says, this week, week 1, we spent X amount, we acquired 10 new buyers, and this is the week 1 cohort. So that group of first-time buyers from week 1, we're going to watch their progression in week 2 and week 3 and through the rest of the year, and we're going to see how much cumulative buying occurs, how much cumulative revenue and cumulative value is generated from that cohort. And we do this every single week, and at some point, you reach a break even, which is the point at which the cumulative revenue generated from that cohort exceeds the amount that you invested to acquire those new buyers, to acquire those new customers. And if you graph all this into a long-term chart, it looks something like this. And this is what a savvy investor into an online web-based business is going to want to see, especially e-commerce. How many new customers did you generate? And what is the current lifetime value of each of your cohorts? So I can see that in these weeks, 25, 26, the red bars represent my marketing cost, and the blue bars represent my internal revenue, or my revenue from those cohorts. And things look pretty hairy in here because I'm already several weeks ahead here, and I can see that this is a cumulative value and I'm not even close. So whatever I did here didn't work, and I shouldn't repeat it. But if I go into this part here, I can see that my marketing spend is going down, but I'm acquiring a higher value customer because the cohorts are telling me that the lifetime value is higher, and those people are growing revenue from me faster. So the last point that I want to make here is that this is a very agile process. There's a concept of minimum viable product, and we think about content as a minimum viable product. Every piece of content that we publish every week is a test. It's an experiment. And what we want to do is we want to build, we want to measure, and then we want to learn so that we can go through this cycle the next time knowing what we did wrong, knowing what we did right, and improving on it and iterating. And the faster that we can go through this cycle, the faster we will learn, and the faster we're going to have the results that we're after. And the key mentality, or the key mindset in all of this, in my opinion, is curiosity. You just have to be curious. There's so much knowledge to gain in online marketing. There's an enormous amount of information, advice, tools. You just have to be very, very hungry for this knowledge, and it's a lifelong learning process. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. And I know some of you are probably getting hungry. So thanks for making it this far. And now we can take some questions.
Any questions?
Yeah.
So, say we start a startup. We said one person who's going to take care of the marketing part of the company. And we reached a point where, say, that person cannot manage anymore to do all the required parts of the marketing, online marketing and all that. What would you suggest? To hire people who are going to continue that policy and going to continue developing the online marketing within the company, or better invest in another company, say third-party company, who's going to take care of the online content of our startup?
it's probably less risky to outsource it in the beginning, because if it doesn't work, you can fire that company quickly. If you hire somebody, it's more of a commitment, and it's usually more expensive. If you have a good writer in-house, and you're willing to do some of the other parts, then maybe you can pull it off if you don't have the budget to outsource. But this is a very popular question that we deal with all the time with our clients, that they say, well, I have parts of this puzzle in-house. I have a person who can write, or I have a social media person in-house. Can you do the content part, or can you do the outreach part? So it's a little bit different in every case, but I generally think it's less risky to outsource with a small budget in the beginning to see how it goes. Mm-hmm.
Any more questions? Okay, I see you. While we wait for the mic, I have a very quick question.
Yeah.
What is bootstrapping?
Bootstrapping, well, I don't want to spoil Justin Tom's presentation coming up. Bootstrapping is pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, literally the straps on your boots. It means doing it yourself, and it's a very synonymous term with startups and with entrepreneurs.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Do you think many businesses lose focusing too much on social media and creating content than actually selling their product to direct customers?
No, not really. You have to focus on both. If you just only sell and you don't provide value to your customers, that way of traditional marketing that I presented just doesn't work anymore. If you focus only on social media, but you actually don't take care of your product and the service that you offer, then you're also probably not going to have much success. So you have to do both equally, I think.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
With this, we would like to invite you to lunch. Say thank you. This is a little bit from us and from today. Okay, with this, с това искаме да ви поканим на обяд. Само ако може да ни отделите 2 минутки преди това, да ви дадем малко повече информация за... Окей, надявам се всички вече са концентрирани, наядени и готови за следващата сесия.